I got a call, met a casting director. They gave me a script. You're perfect for this part. Go read it. I go read it. It's a karate guy. He's a total bad guy. I'm like, how am I going to, this isn't right for me. But I went back the next day to read with John Avildsen, the director, and I put on a headband and a tank top, and I drove up in my dad's 1970 Volvo, and I cranked some, Zebra or something in the car. But I walked in the audition in those days. Zebra is great songs. Walked in the audition, and when I was doing the commercials, everybody was super friendly on the commercial auditions. If you ever did that, it's like, hey man, I loved you in the Snickers spot. Everybody's so friendly in the commercial world. But then in this room, I walked in, and everybody's reading for the character of Johnny Lawrence, and so there was like it was the iciest room ever. There was like 50 me's in there, like Johnny's in there. Competitive. Everybody was out badassing the next guy, and you have to go in and sign a piece of paper, and it threw me. So I went out to the car, and I said, just tell them I'll be in the car. So I sat in the car and just cranked the stereo until they came out, and they're like, we've been looking for you, and I'm like, so I went in, and then I had my audition, and there's a scene that was cut out of the film that we shot, but it was my audition scene, and it was before the tournament at the school. And Daniel's getting a drink of water, and I walk up to him, and I hand him a piece of paper. And he stops, and he looks at it, and he says, what's this for? And it's a death certificate. You got to get your mommy to sign it, and if you want to be in the tournament with the big boys. And then he looks at it, and he says, wait, I thought that it was supposed to be no contact. And I say, well, accidents happen. And then I walk away, and he goes, hey. And I go, yeah. He goes, you think you might be wrong? And I say, who? He goes, your instructor. You think you might be wrong? And then my line is, watch your mouth, asshole. So in that line, John Avildsen was reading with me and the director, and when I said that line, I walked over to him, and one of the rules of auditions, and I don't recommend it, is don't touch anybody, casting directors or the director, but I grabbed John and I pulled him up and I said, watch your mouth, asshole. And then I threw him back down into his seat, and he's still filming, and that was the end of the scene, but there was this tension in the room, so I just kept working it, and I walked to the door and I looked at him and I said, I'll see you in the tournament. And then I opened the door and I said, read it and weep. And I walked out and I closed the door. And there's all the other guys still out there like, are you done? I'm like, no. And then I walked back in and I'm like, I'm so sorry. That was, that was the character. That wasn't me, And he's like, so how old are you? And you're a little taller than our Karate Kid. And I go, well, Bruce Lee was shorter than a lot of guys. He goes, that's true. And he took my name and that was it, And then a month later I got a call back, and then and slowly rolled out. My last audition wasn't even an audition. I read with Ralph, which was cool. There was 3 guys left, me, Ralph, and then the guy who played Tommy in the movie, and Bobby. And we were kind of rolling in out the door. And I waited for Ralph until the end of the day at Columbia Pictures when I was waiting by my car. He came out like 5 hours later, like I shouldn't have been there so long. I just wanted to hear what he thought. And I said, how'd I do? What'd you think? And he goes, well, I told the director, everybody was great. He says, but you legitimately scared the shit out of me. So I'm like, all right, that sounds good, So went home, had last audition, was stretching, and Pat Johnson, who trained us, brought me into a room with a bunch of mats, this rubber room, bent me in all different kinds of ways, and got on the phone and sent me home. And then that night I got the part.